Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Boyz Racing Car Review. I'm TBZ Frostbite, here to review the 2019 McLaren 720S Spyder. McLaren has made some incredible cars in their time, from the iconic F1 to the P1, and then returning to road cars with the MP412C. It was at this point that they moved to naming their cars after the horsepower they wished to achieve. The 570S, 600LT, 650S, and this here, the 720S, boasting a 711 horsepower twin-turbo 4-liter V8 that pushes out 568 foot-pounds of torque to carry all 3,236 pounds of vehicle from 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. Plastered in carbon fiber, this McLaren upholds to every aspect that a supercar should have. Outlandish body styles, a cockpit geared to the driver, a powerful engine, and, of course, a lightweight body frame. Because what's a supercar if it's bogged down by its own weight? In its fully open manner, we see this car wasn't made for long road trips, but in an article I read from Car and Driver, they went after a rough, rugged old highway in California, one you wouldn't think to take a $370,000 machine down. But the drivers had so much to brag about it, I had to see if the stock settings would match their findings. So, for our first drive, we are going to take this beast over to the Rally expansion map and test its limits on the Devil's Pass. The tone of this McLaren is done very well, not perfect. I think there could be some aggressive underlying in the tone that we don't get out of this car. But being able to hear the turbo blow-off valves and the natural crackles out of the exhaust pipe are great touches. And might I add, the placement of the dual exhaust pipes placed right on the inside of each brake light, just absolutely amazing. They designed the rear bumper in such a manner that it's like it was built around the exhaust pipes. They just sit so naturally. And it's a good thing this car looks so amazing, because in its stock handling with the power is not for the new driver. The rear-wheel drive power breaks the rear end loose from the tarmac too easily. It makes corner exits so unstable, with the rear tires breaking loose at any point through a turn. I even found that once it's straightened up, full throttle in second gear will most definitely bring the back end out from underneath you. Throttle management is key, and on that note, full throttle steering revealed loads of understeer. Off throttle, this car had perfect turn-in and recovery steering, but throttle into a sweeping only left me swinging off the asphalt and into the dirt, and sometimes off the mountain. It's a good thing my reviews are only done in a video game. But once gripped up, the engine delivers its power smoothly and consistently. While accelerating down straights, this car never seems to lose momentum. It just keeps going and going. And while I was never able to achieve its acclaimed 212 mile per hour, I could easily see hitting that mark. The wide 245 millimeter tires up front, matted with McLaren's excellent braking system, gave us great control on turn entry. Seeing everything we have here for a great build, let's get this back to the garage and see what some of our options are. Well, there are no aspiration or engine swaps available for this car, just the all-wheel drive swap. And I have no complaints about that. with a car that has the perfection of the engine and turbos, why change them? So as we head over to the aero and appearance, it was a pleasant surprise to see the Duke Dynamics body kit. Not a wide body, but a great diffuser kit, adding to the more spirited driver-looking look to maximize grip on the back roads and on track day. I think I will find this useful for going after Lighthouse Speedway. And the hood having a carbon fiber option just adds the final finishing touches. The track width is an option, which just means we are going to have a good build here. I'm going to take some time and carefully select my upgrades as the car already starts in a high S1, and I'll be right back with a nice build. Well, I could only work on grip and weight. Because of how much this animal loses the back end and the amount of power it already puts down, I focused on the handling. I widened up the tires, both front and rear, maximized out the track width, and then reduced the weight down to 3,064 pounds. Included the top-of-the-line racing suspension, and of course I had to throw on that Duke Dynamics body kit. Utilizing the factory color orange from the lineup and blacking out the wheels, this car looks as good as ever. It truly speaks to one's soul. It looks rough, like something you'd expect to get into and be tossed about. With the anti-roll bars fine-tuned and very soft spring rate, this car glides along the rougher roads with the same precision it does with smooth roads built for a $370,000 car. No spoiler means we get to keep the active aero option from the car, and I must admit I appreciate that. The assistance from the air brake and the stability it provides at high speeds all play a factor into the smoothness of this super machine. But enough of the talking. Let's see what the numbers look like. Man, did Lighthouse Speedway prove to be a good testing ground for this tail-happy race car. The first wide sweeping right turn gave me the ability to really tune the body roll stiffness and see results in tuning out the understeer. The sharp hairpin and 90-degree left turns tested the ability of this car to get back on the throttle without losing the rear wheels. The long, high-speed straights once again just gave proof that this car just keeps going with no momentum drop. And finally, the left and right snakes showed the rigid, agile capabilities. Now, I must say, I broke one of my own rules. When doing these reviews, I do only one 5-lap race and take whatever the best lap time is to post on the video. But this McLaren posted a 1 minute, 3.681 second lap as its fastest lap in the first race. And that ties with the Porsche 918 Cayman GT4 RS. So I had to give it one more go, because where's the fun in tied times? And on the second time around, I managed to knock exactly 1/10 of a second off the clock. That brings us to a 1 minute, 3.581 second, placing this car second in the leaderboard for Lighthouse Speedway. A play well earned, but also begins to show that the Camaro is going to be a hard one to knock off. But over to our scoring board. For style, I was surprised to see a full body kit available for such a high-end luxury supercar. Surprised, but not disappointed. The wheel spacing options were great, and with a nice wheel setup, this car comes out looking very personalized. Normally, the lack in engine and aspiration conversions would be a downside, but this is McLaren, and it's almost sacrilegious to put anything other than the original motor in this beast. The advanced body lines, the classic McLaren look, and the plastered carbon fiber body panels all give this car my first ever rating of a 10. Just an outstanding styled car. Competitive, on the other hand, falls short. The struggle to get the car to maintain grip in the rear wheels without hours of tuning and testing makes taking this into online racing a bit of a pain. It doesn't handle the way you would want it to when going against others in online racing, and doesn't hold the consistency for it to be used in competitive long endurance races. However, if you can manage to wrangle in that power, it is a fast car, and thus I still feel this car earns a 6. As for the fun factor, this car is relatively fun to drive. It gives the driver a lot to smile about. Speed, style, class, cruising enjoyment, and racing excitement. This car is sure to turn heads while keeping its driver smiling. And that in and of itself earns it an 8. Taking us to a total of 24 out of 30. And again, we have tied with the Porsche. But because I love Porsche so much, I have to place McLaren third. Still an honorable position to be in for our S1 class cars. Well, that's going to do it for me on this one, guys. Let me know which of the McLaren lineup is your favorite. What car would you like me to do a video on next? And as always, we hope you like and subscribe, and safe driving.